If you've made it to this video, it certainly wasn't an accident. The universe sent you here because you're meant to receive this message. What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing a pick a card oracle deck reading from my very own oracle deck, the Maha-Artan, an Unfoldment of Consciousness Oracle. This is relatively new, this deck, and it is absolutely beautiful. But today, we're going to do a pick a card reading. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to shuffle the deck and I'm going to lay down 3 cards. And basically, I'm going to get you guys to pick your own card, and I will explain each and every message and put down where they start in the description below in terms of the minute, so you can just skip to the section that you want. This is a beautiful deck designed not just by myself. I did the writing for the deck, and so it's very easy for me to talk about the message. And my partner that I worked with on the deck, she was in charge of doing the artwork, and so the artwork is done by her. The beautiful cards are her designs, and the writing is done by me. So if you are interested in this oracle deck, I will send you a link to I will put a link in the description below to the website. But it is a beautiful deck, and a lot of heart and soul was put into it. And today we're going to reveal a message for you guys. So I'm going to lay down 3 cards. Going 2, going 3. Basically, take on the guidance for like 3 to 4 weeks if you can. And just try and play with it, because this oracle deck was designed not to tell you everything's going to be okay as such, but each card has a subject in regards to self-discovery. And when you pull the card, you explore that subject or that topic, and you don't have to agree with it. You don't have to agree with the concepts or the ways that it suggests of dealing with certain things, but encourages you to try things around that concept, even look into other people's advice or other people's ways of dealing with that concept. For example, if something comes up about anxiety, it encourages you to go and explore that avenue and find ways of managing it or understanding it or dealing with it, or just learning about that concept as a whole. And then once you feel like you've progressed in that area, that you've learned something, that you've taken something new on board, then pull another card type thing. So I'm going to show you the cards now, and if you pick your own card, there we have it. We will have this card as A, this card as B, and this card as C. So let's start off obviously with card A. If you picked this card, the reading is coming now. Let's have a look at what we pulled. The Illusion. If you picked card number A, you pulled the Illusion. And what I am going to do is I'm going to read to you from the guidebook what it says, the mini guidebook. There are extended versions online. So let's see, 29. And I will elaborate if I need to, okay? So the Illusion. Has loss recently made an appearance in your life? Do objects or people just keep slipping away from you? Are you struggling to make a decision because you're afraid of what you might lose? The Illusion comes to you today to challenge your perspective on loss. It asks, can you lose something that truly belongs to you? Everything on the surface of the earth will eventually perish, so why is it that we hold on so tight to the things and experiences that come into our reality? If something has removed itself from your side, could it be because you don't need it anymore? Could it be to show you where your will sits? Could it be to push you in a new direction, to reveal to you something you hadn't once seen? Could loss be an illusion? This is huge, do you know what I mean? So now I'm going to elaborate a little bit. But the illusion is all about loss and, like being in pain because of loss. And as much as loss is painful, do you know what I mean? It is hard to lose something or to feel like we've lost something. That is literally something that is going to occur over and over and over again in this lifetime. We are going to lose people. We are going to lose our, let's say, almost like our place on this earth. Whether you see this as life and death as death, or this as something and death as another type of life. I don't know, however you see it. We are basically all going to perish in time. And loss is the only thing that is almost, it's guaranteed in this life to lose things. We're going to lose things. And this card is basically asking you to challenge your perspective on loss. Are things breaking? Are you losing things? Or are you afraid to make a decision because you're basically afraid that you're going to sit there and think, oh, I lost that. I had all of that and now I've lost it. Because, like, you know, essentially, I feel like it's an illusion because, you know, can you really lose something? Can you really, really lose something? Everything is just shifting and moving and changing and you know, traveling almost. Everything is just traveling. So can you really lose something that is meant to be by your side? And if you are losing something, or if something has gone missing, whether you've lost money, whether you've lost a person, whether you've lost your laptop, whether you've lost something material, or most of the time something material, because what can we really lose that's spiritual? If you've lost something material, why has that loss occurred? Has it occurred to teach you something? Has it occurred to guide you somewhere else? Has it occurred because it's meant to occur? And what is it that loss is trying to teach you? That's essentially what this card is talking about. When we realise that there is nothing on this earth we can truly own, we will instantly gain access to a higher level of peace. As a result, the navigation of this material plane becomes much easier. Even this body that we use daily is nothing more than a loan. It will eventually break down and return to the earth. The illusion wishes to tell you that if you have recently lost something, all will be okay. This may just be an essential part of your journey. What can you learn from it? If something is meant to be by your side, it will make its way back. Things will always come and go, but if you dwell on what you feel you've lost, you will never make the space for the newness that wants to flow to you. So yeah, this is really about, you know, learning to be comfortable with loss, because instead of basically, you know, if you're having an experience right now and you're in this space and something has had to leave your life, instead of looking at what's left your life, look at what can come into your life, whether that is even a person. You know, we lose people, and that is obviously one of the hardest things to lose. People, animals, anything close to us. And as people pass, that's the one thing that is guaranteed. People are going to pass on into another realm, whatever happens as we pass. Yeah, if you feel like you've lost a person, what can you gain from that even? You know, what newness can come in? Can you generate a different type of connection with that person? Are you going to learn, or are you able to learn more about the spirit? Are you able to write to that person and create a connection that you never knew almost existed? You know, like, what newness can come into your life essentially getting comfortable with loss? Because if you dwell in the past, you don't allow yourself to almost truly step you don't allow yourself to step into the next chapter with fresh energy. And of course, it takes a little bit of time to get over loss. It's not saying hurry up and get over loss. It's just kind of saying, you know, can you learn to look at loss in a different way? Can you see it as an illusion, and rather seeing it as a loss, something physically taken away from you, losing something, can you see everything as energy just moving like it does? Because nothing is really stagnant in this life, and everything has to move and shift. And can you just go with the movement, go with the flow of almost life? And that is, I guess, what this card is about. So the overall message is that, you know, all will be okay. And what can you learn through loss? Can it show you your will? Will it show you your willpower? For me, for example, I kept on losing material things, you know, money, my cat, and most frustratingly, my laptop, and that was the thing that I needed, and my phone, and things that I needed to do the work that I wanted to do. And I guess it taught me actually a lot, and it has now showed me my will, because now I have the things I need. I really have to put that effort in because I have them. And before, it taught me, you know, when I was in that phase of loss or feeling like I'd lost things, it taught me a whole bunch of stuff, which I don't need to go into, but yeah, loss can teach you a lot, or the illusion of loss can teach you a lot. So what can loss teach you if you feel like things are always slipping out of your grasp? Okay, so that was card number 1, or card A. So if you chose card B, this is this card. Let's see what was pulled. Comparison. So if you pulled this card, this is a pretty big card actually. Comparison is something that we do as human beings a lot, especially in this day and age. So let's see card number 32. What I will do is I will read from the guidebook, the card information, and then I will elaborate as I feel I need to. So, when cruising along the freeway of life, is it necessary to gaze out of your window at the other cars zooming past, to look at their vehicle and compare it to yours? Whose is better, faster, shinier? Comparison is a slippery road to jealousy, fear, resentment, and self-loathing. Why don't I have what they've got? Now, this is huge. And right now, I've actually had to go through this myself and had to almost remind myself of the comparison card. And I've recently just written on my ever-expanding vision board, why do you compare when you're doing something completely different? And that, you know, I don't know if you needed to hear that, but why do you compare when you're doing something different? Why do you compare when you're a unique individual? Why do you compare when this is your path and nobody else's type thing? And it's hard not to. Of course, it's hard not to compare, but, you know, sometimes we compare ourselves to people who are not even doing the same thing as us, you know? For me, I'm really into music, and the message that I want to put across in music is completely different to the music I hear on the radio. But when I hear the music on the radio and the rap that's on the radio, I start to feel like I'm not good enough. And I'm like, why am I comparing myself to something else, firstly, and to something that isn't even relevant to me, that isn't even, you know, considered. If there was competition, there is no competition. Everyone has their own space to do their own thing and their own people to influence. But even if there was competition, why do I compare myself to something that isn't even in the same bracket as I, if you know what I mean? So this card is really about learning to understand that you have your own path in this life, and, you know, you don't need to compare yourself to other people. Everybody creates their own art, and they create it with their spirit. And it's your spirit that is going to captivate your people, or find your crowd, or just deliver what it's meant to deliver to this earth. Do you compare yourself to people on social media, family members, your partner, your partner's ex, your co-workers? Do you compare yourself to people similar to you, or people that are different? If you found yourself feeling like you're not enough, or like everyone is your competition and you need to be better, comparison has this message. There's always going to be someone smarter, fitter, that paints a prettier picture, has a bigger house or a larger following. If there isn't today, then there will be tomorrow. That doesn't mean there isn't space for you. There is plenty of whatever it is you fear losing to another to go around. There is only one person that can fill your shoes and can touch the souls you're meant to touch, and that is you. So yeah, you know, comparison happens everywhere, in the workspace, in school, on social media, in the family. You know, you could compare yourself to your mother, or you could compare yourself to your brother, and, you know, like those things, like, you know, there is space for you, and essentially that's what it is saying. And, you know, you don't need to compare. Comparison is almost like the root of, you know, it's really what generates our unhappiness. When you catch yourself in the act of comparison, can you stop for a second and send yourself love? That's the first thing the card suggests doing. Like, can you stop for a second and love yourself? Send yourself love. And that doesn't mean, I know loving yourself sometimes is hard in itself, you know, but can you love yourself and just actually release judgment of the comparison? Because this card is asking you to become aware of when you're comparing. So love yourself through that. So I'm comparing myself to somebody else, and I forgive myself for doing that, and I'm accepting of myself for doing that. I understand that I'm a human being. That just means that's just loving yourself. It's not about standing in the mirror and being like, I love me, I'm so great. It's about accepting that is what you're currently doing. So can you send love to yourself? Can you love yourself? Can you remind yourself that there is only one you? Yeah? So there is only one me. I am the only person that can do what I am meant to do on this earth. And, you know, like, it doesn't matter what everybody else is doing and what everybody else has. There is only one me. There is only one me that is going to have this experience. And this experience that I'm having is valid, and it sort of adds to the collective experience, you know. And this is my perception. This is my story, and that is adding to the large collective. This is my book in the library of many books type thing. Can you send the person you compare yourself to love, applaud their talent and what they're doing on their unique journey? So once you've sent yourself love and realised that you're writing your own book, then can you clap at their book and just be like, yeah, I'm sending them love. What they're doing is great. And, you know, whether you send that to them in a message, you don't even have to, but can you appreciate them for what they're doing and for their experience and what they're adding to the collective experience? You know, and that's difficult if there's jealousy involved. I've been through that. That's difficult if there's jealousy involved or competition, you know what I mean? Sometimes we compare and we still admire that person we're comparing to, but sometimes we compare and it brings us down and we feel like quite, you know, almost negative because we're almost in competition with that person if we feel like they're similar to us. So can we share love to them and basically appreciate their experience on this material plane? What could this person be teaching you? Could the pain of comparison be a sign that it's time to take a break from certain environments and reconnect with yourself? The other thing with comparison is, I've had this happen before, and I guess I was in comparison. I was comparing myself to somebody, and not necessarily like comparing side by side and being like, I'm like this and they're like this and we're the same. It's just that I had the competition. I felt the competition, and it was because of comparison. Do you know what I mean? Comparison was at the root of it. And sometimes when you're having those feelings, they could be teaching you something about yourself. They could just be highlighting this for you, that this is something you need to understand and go through. But there's also no shame in going like, right, I need to take a break from this environment, whether that is like, I'm comparing myself to my family members. I need to take a break from that for a minute. I'm not going to go and put myself in those situations. I thought, like I went to a sort of healer, and she was like, you need to unfollow this person because it's triggering you. And I thought to myself, that means I'm weak. Like I need to face it. And it took me a while, but I eventually unfollowed them, and it stopped. And actually now I'm in a space where it no longer happens. And actually, I think that I did need the break, and I did just need to remove the trigger. And that helped a lot. So sometimes, the comparison card could be saying, do you just actually need to take a break from that? If you're comparing yourself to somebody's material possessions, do you just need to not go around their house for a little while? Do you just need to be by yourself and just take some time to reconnect and be with you and actually understand who you are as an individual? I took myself off of social media for a good couple of years, and I started finding myself in different ways, because not that I was comparing myself a lot, like to a lot of people, but you go like, I'm doing this, but they've got 10,000 followers, 100,000 followers. I'm doing the similar thing. Like, why don't I have that? And that, it's not necessarily comparison at the, I'm comparing myself, but there is a comparison occurring. So, it could be time to just take a break from the environments that are giving you that type of a stress. So that basically is comparison. Explore the topic of comparison, read other people's articles on comparison, and see what that means for you, really. So that was card B. Moving on to card C. So if you picked card C, that would be this one. Let's see what card you got. Oh, holographic mirror. Good cards in this. This reading has been really cool. It's been really like proper things that are occurring, things that I feel like occur in daily life. So holographic mirror, there we go. That's what we pulled up. So what I'm actually going to do is I am going to read from the guidebook the message, and I will elaborate as I feel. Right, so holographic mirror enters your life today to reflect at you the flaws you see in others. Why do we criticize another? Is it because their energy challenges ours in some way? The mirror asks, what can the judgments we cast upon another tell us about ourselves? This is powerful stuff. This is very powerful stuff. Sometimes the energy we see in another sits with dominance in ourselves. We see it so much in them because it contests our very own power. If you criticize and call someone opinionated, do you truly dislike this quality, or do their opinions simply challenge yours? Would that too make you opinionated? Is the energy that you judge one that is present in yourself? So the mirror is basically being like, hey, if you're judging another and saying this person's like this, and this, could that energy that you're judging be present in yourself? And could it not be that that energy annoys you? It could just be that that energy contests your own. And a lot of the times when it's a masculine energy that you're criticizing, for example, they're opinionated, they are arrogant, they've got a big ego. When it's those masculine energies, sometimes it's just contesting your own. And because the masculine energy is dominant and it needs to win. So basically, you come across another masculine energy and there can only be one winner. There can only be the one with the biggest ego. There can only be the one that has the most attention. And when they're kind of taking the attention away from you, sometimes you see that energy because you feel like you're now in lack because they've taken almost something from you. They've taken your spotlight, or they've taken control of the situation. And so the mirror is going, is that real? Or, is it really them? Or is that something in you that now that has been highlighted for you to learn from? So does that mean that when you're sitting next to somebody that is less dominant than you, that you're actually casting the sort of same image as the person you're judging, if you know what I mean? So the first thing it asks you, the mirror says, like, is that energy that you're judging present in yourself? And if it's not, that's okay, because there's more. So seeing that, by the way, if that's the case, then the opportunity is to learn more about yourself and that energy. So seeing energy that we desire but find hard to cultivate can cause us pain. If we want to feel confident and someone comes along naturally exuding that energy, it can trigger our insecurities. We call it arrogance or mark it as unattractive. It is easier to label something as undesirable than to look at yourself and see flaw. Is the energy you judge one you believe you lack? Okay, so I went through this, and I hate to mention it, but I used to see, I used to be basically really unconfident, or confidently unconfident. There were some environments I couldn't go into. I was a personal trainer, and I was just trying to build myself, and I was building my self-esteem and all that kind of stuff. And I got a job with this guy, and he was like, you need to go into offices and start offering our services. And that to me was absolutely scary, because I just didn't have that ability. I have no problem being on stage in front of people, but I just didn't have that ability to go in and face rejection. I guess that's what it was, facing rejection. And he put me onto Gary V's videos, and Gary V had so much confidence, and I was like, I can't watch this guy. I feel like, nah, he's not getting it. That's not me. Because I didn't have that strength that he had, and it actually highlighted for me my insecurities, and it made it very difficult for me to resonate with his message, because actually I saw it as arrogant and I didn't like it. But looking at it now, after building my own confidence and feeling a lot more sure in myself, I'm like, oh yeah, he's talking some real shit. Do you know what I mean? I get it. Because now I can resonate with the energy, because now I've built my confidence, and I realise that I can actually tap into any energy source that I want. And if I want to be a confident individual, it's up to me to learn how to utilise those energies, to actually believe in myself, to actually stop fearing rejection, and to cultivate that. But initially I couldn't cultivate that energy. And seeing that energy just made me think, what an arse. Do you know what I mean? But that was because it was too scary to look at myself and be like, so what is it that it was too scary to look at myself and see that I lack something. It was easier to point at somebody else and say that I don't like that about them, as opposed to I don't like this about me, and then work on changing it. So if somebody, say somebody's super confident and you're not confident, then, and they come along and they're wearing this outfit and you're just judging them, can't believe they would wear that. That's because you don't have the confidence to wear it yourself. So you judge the other person, because it's easier to do that and be like, no, it's them that I don't like, not me that I don't like. And so if that's the case, if you're in that place, can you use the mirror to reflect back at you the judgment you're casting, and learn about yourself? We don't lack any energy. Yes, we are born with certain quantities and qualities, but we are able to tap into any energy source that we want. The bucket is infinite, and it can be hard. If you're very feminine, it can be very difficult to tap into those masculine energies. But if you look at the yin-yang symbol, the feminine aspect has a masculine bloody heart. So it is embedded within the femininity just as much as femininity is embedded in the masculinity. It's just that some of us are born with high percentages of masculinity, low percentages of femininity, and it's not just masculine and feminine, but different energies as well. And we can tap into any one that we want, and so we can learn to be more soft. We can learn to be more firm. We can learn to be more disciplined. We can learn to be more fun, or whatever it is. So what is it? What is it that you believe you lack, perhaps? Okay, and finally, we are quick to judge energies that highlight our fears. If we experience rage but try to suppress or hide it, we may quickly judge others that openly express it. We are so ashamed of it in ourselves that we have to separate ourselves from that quality. Is the energy you judge one that you fear or feel ashamed of? What that means, I thought that the next paragraph might have carried on from that. What that means is one thing, for example, let's say I would like to consider myself reasonably tidy, reasonably organised, and reasonably disciplined, though I lack all of that at times. You know what I mean? I lack all of it at times, but sometimes then what that does is it makes us judge another person that is showing those things that we dislike in ourselves. I hate it when I'm tired. I've had to learn to be okay with being tired, and feeling like I'm lazy and I don't want to do, because I like to be active and I like to be doing things. But that might mean, you know, like at one point I just didn't want to associate with like any form of laziness because it highlighted something that I hated about myself, or I hated experiencing myself. And so sometimes we can judge another like, oh, they're so undisciplined. But we all know what it's like to feel lack of discipline at some point. We all know what it's like to be like, I was meant to work out today and I didn't. I was meant to eat clean today and I didn't. I was meant to do homework today and I didn't. I was meant to do this today and I didn't. We all have done that at some point in our life. And sometimes we judge ourselves so harshly on those things that we hate. But when we see it in another, we try to reject it. Like, oh, they're uneducated, like, you know, they're uneducated, and we know what it's then like to step into an environment of really smart people and feel like less intelligent. So then we go like, they're less intelligent. Like, I need to be away from that, because we hate that feeling ourselves, if you know what I mean. So it's asking you to say, like, are you rejecting somebody or judging somebody because you actually judge that energy in yourself highly, and you're highly critical of that occurrence in yourself? And if so, what can that teach you about you? Do you need to learn to love all aspects of you? Do you need to learn to be comfortable with certain energies? You know, because we're all humans, and we're all going to experience similar things. You know, like, we're all going to experience rage, but say you want to appear a peaceful person, you know, and you want to appear super spiritual, that you never have any sort of angry thoughts or anything like that, and then somebody else is angry over there, and you're like, oh yeah, you know, you almost cast judgment on that because you're afraid when that happens in yourself. Like, can you learn to understand that we as human beings are all ruled by, we all have the influence of Mars. There is something that is going to piss every single one of us off, and all it is an opportunity to learn. So that is that. Those that we place the harshest judgments on can teach us very much about ourselves. To judge another, then to look at yourself and say, I know this energy because I've seen it in myself, requires awareness and a level of honesty that can be quite confronting. Can you hold up a mirror as words of judgment pass through your lips? I just saw an error. I just missed an A in that book. So anyway, sorry. Can you hold up... I missed a U. Can you hold up a mirror as words of judgments pass through your lips? Anytime you're judging people, this card is saying, can you hold up a mirror and reflect it back at you? Is it an energy that you see? Is it an energy that contests your own? Is it an energy that you desire but feel like you cannot cultivate? Is it an energy that is present in you and you judge it in yourself, so now you're judging it in another? And what can that teach you? What can that teach you? That's essentially what the mirror is saying. And this is a wicked card, to be honest. So if you pulled that, explore it, you know, look up mirroring, go and find other people's articles, go and read about it, go and listen to podcasts about it, and explore and just see, like, okay, what judgments am I making? Take notice and then reflect it back at you, and just sort of see, like, is there anything you can learn about yourself in that process? So guys, that is it. That is it. That is the reading. If you've watched, thank you so much. I know that only card C is going to see this bit. But thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.